Welcome back to another episode of With a Grain of Salt. I am your host, Isaiah Salter,
I'm Tom Andino.
and we appreciate you tuning in yet again for another week. How was your week?
Another week.
Another week.
It was good. It was
Yep.
good. I started a new job, so I'm still learning a lot.
Come on.
Very supportive environment, but like drinking out of a fire hose, learning all of the internal lingo, the people. And when I think, okay, today I'm finally going to be able to quote unquote work,
Yes, sir.
you get all these meetings or more onboarding or
Right.
something, So how do we define work? It's all part of that. But I know my bias is me trying to sort this out. But for everybody else, especially because there hasn't been somebody in the role, they're coming to you, oh, somebody's finally here, they'll be able to answer X, Y, Z. And I'm like, I can't answer anything because I don't really know much yet. But thanks for your vote of confidence, So that's been interesting challenge.
Yeah.
And the gym, the last 2 Saturdays, my trainer has really pushed me, and it's been really, really fun. Not so much in the moment, but when I wake up the next day and I'm slightly sore, I'm like, oh, you did something.
Yes, sir.
So that's been a really good feeling.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You want to touch on like how to embrace a new chapter of your life real quick? Because like, what did you do to kind of prepare for a new season, new job, new people, new environments? How did you prepare for that?
It took me a while to be ready to accept something new. I think I've been fortunate enough to have people who believed in me. That's the difference for me. I mean, I've always I'm not the raise your hand kind of guy. I'll do this. Especially if it's outside of what I consider that I know anything about, which really I don't give myself a lot of credit for knowing much. I can plan liturgy and music, and I can probably navigate you around Disney World. Other than that, right? People say, well, don't shortchange yourself. But
Yeah.
But I've had people tap me on the shoulder and say, so-and-so wants you to do this. And so I have to look at that, like knowing that individual, wondering, what do they see in me? Why are they so I'm like really apprehensive, and they're like, no, you're going to be great. It looks like they don't even have any reservations in the world, right? So I have to sit with that a little bit.
Yeah.
And do the whole like, okay, you don't know everything. Be realistic, right? I haven't started a new job in over 20 years. So this is all kind of really, like you did do this at one time, everywhere you've worked, everywhere you've been, every new experience you've had.
Yep.
Until it becomes familiar. And I've heard it said like it takes the first year to learn a job, the second year you do the job, and the third year you actually start to make the job your own. So being patient with that whole first year, which is so hard because 365 days is a long time. Sometimes the days are a long time. We don't think a minute is that long. Right. I never thought a minute was that long until I started doing planks. I'm like, man, a minute is forever.
Facts.
Yeah. So.
I love that. Yeah, no, I think just what helped me with just embracing new chapters is just understanding that like uncertainty is a gift. You know what I mean? And like we're meant to evolve and grow. And so although I might be nervous, I might be a little scared, I'm also excited stepping into this new chapter because I know that there's so much growth and lessons and blessings in it for me. Yeah. It's just about perspective, you know what I mean, and perception. Right. That was something I heard that really helped me because I know I talk a lot about perspective and having the right perspective, but I was listening to a podcast and he said, if you don't have the right perception of things, you can't have the right perspective of it. And I love that. Like if you keep perceiving, like if you perceived a new chapter or uncertainty as a negative thing, it's scary, it's the worst thing ever, whatever it is, that's going to be your perspective in it, right? But if you perceive new chapters and new seasons of your life as opportunities for growth, as ways to challenge you, to move in different areas, then your perspective through it's going to be different, right? And so that was something that really helped me, but definitely perspective and just looking at these things as opportunities,
And I'm one of those people that doesn't really like change. I never grew up with, I've admitted this before, did not grow up with that growth mindset. The way I was brought up was learn what you're really good at, do that, and then pay other people to do what they're really good at and keep the economy going, right? It was never try to learn all this yourself, right? So not growing up with that growth mindset, change is always hard, and it's part of my personality.
Yeah.
And looking at the personality types, like it's actually one of the gifts of my personality to provide tradition and anchor points and stability throughout the year. Ritual and tradition keep us grounded when life gets really chaotic.
Wow.
And we go home for the holidays, or every year we ... And people say, well, ritual's boring, right? And then I take them through this little mindset. I'm like, well, what happens on your birthday? Like, do you do anything on your birthday? Oh, yeah, my great-grandma makes this cake, and it's really good. And we have this tradition in my family where they put one extra candle on, and people sing to me, and then I get gifts. That's ritual.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody brings you a cake, you blow out candle. Like, that's a patterned, repeated behavior, just like brushing your teeth, that accomplishes something, but also keeps you grounded in the chaos of the year, in the chaos of the day. Maybe it's, making your coffee in the morning, or whatever those patterns are. And sometimes when they're gone, right, you have people like, oh, we're going to embrace this. It took me a long time to get there. Or you have the people that are like, well, now what am I going to do? The power went out, and I always eat my Wheaties at 6:02, and now I've got, oh, this could be a new adventure. The power's out. Like, what have I always wanted to do? Like, I can't go to work because my garage door won't open. This is so cool. Like,
right.
There's two kinds of people.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to embrace that second one.
You're hitting.
Oh, it's a snow day?
Yeah.
This is a day I didn't expect. Great, let's do something.
Yeah.
Rather than worrying about, oh, but I was going to get this, and this done today,
Yeah.
and now my plans are derailed. Like, because you can't change it. So embrace it. See, my friend Jake told me he loves to have fun and loves to do stuff. And he would, like today it's raining where we are, he would look at a puddle and say, oh, man, let's go jump in it. And my brain has already scanned all the reasons why we should not do this.
Right.
You could slip and fall. You could get wet. All these bad things could happen. And he would say to me, but it could be fun. Mm-hmm. My brain never gets that far.
Yeah.
So having the opposite person in your life to draw that out of you is such a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, like you were just saying, like adaptability, you know what I mean? Being able to, we talked about that a little off camera, like integration, but like things aren't always going to go your way. You know what I mean? And when something does hit the fan, or you can't go back to your ritual, or it gets taken away, or something just happens, the ability to adapt to the situation.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And not become a victim of your circumstance, but rather like seeing it as an opportunity to do something new, to try a new way, you know what I mean? Yep. A new route, so perspective, I think, is something that you have to practice.
Yep.
I don't think it's something that, I do think naturally some people are just more positive than others. Just, I don't know why that is. I mean, I know I've always been that way since I came out the womb, but it is something that you have to consciously practice at. And work on and challenge yourself. Like, this is where that inner conversation comes in. When you're going through a tough situation or something unexpected happens, challenge yourself to have the right perspective, or to look at things a little differently than you usually would. And you might not always do that, but if you continue to just put the intention out there and you try little by little, you're going to slowly start to shift your perspective into a different way, and you're going to start to see these things that happen to you, these situations, these experiences, totally different. Yeah. Yep. And it really is a life-changing type of thing. Like, it really is life-changing. And when your default perspective is opportunity, positivity, lessons, growth, life, throw whatever you got at me. It doesn't mean it's not going to be hard.
Sure.
It doesn't mean we're going to be toxic positivity. I know, because that's a whole thing. That's a real thing. Like, just trying to act positive, put a smile on your face when you're not really feeling that way, or everything's really like going bad, and it's like, oh no, just smile it out, or you're good. Like, being positive does not mean you always have a smile on your face. It just means it's the way that you look at life. It's your mindset. That's how I view it. Because if I'm sad and I want to cry, I'm going to cry.
Sure.
Like, if I'm grieving, I got to go through that process. I'm not going to be like, no, I'm good, I'm fine, no, everything's good. Like, nah. But yeah, that perspective is everything.
Yep.
It really is. I have something that, matter of fact, no, I want to touch on this first before we get into my notes. So I have a friend, because I want to get your perspective on it. I think people can relate to this. I have a friend in my life where, from my personal experiences and going through certain things in my life, I see certain things coming up in their life where, I'm trying to tell them, like, bro, if you keep going down this route, if you keep doing these things, this is going to happen. You're going to fall off the cliff here, and like trying to give them advice from things that I've been through. But there's a certain balance of giving advice, but also understanding when somebody's not in a place to receive what you have.
Yep.
And you just have to allow them to kind of go through life and experience certain things. And I think that's where I am with this friend. It's like I see in their life, certain things that I dealt with, and it's hard to see. And I'm trying to, tell them, hey, watch out for this or do this, or just trying to give them a little bit of advice. And they're just not as receptive of it right now. And I've just taken the stance of just taking a step back. I'm still going to love them and be there for them.
Yep.
But I realize that they're just not hearing me or listening truly. So you just got to allow life to do what life does sometimes. And sometimes in order for people to change, things have to get to a certain point where it's like they have nowhere else to look but up.
Right.
Life does something to them that really makes them pause and be like, hold up. I do got to change because it can't get no worse than this. You know what I mean? And so I think that's where I'm at with this friend. And it's really tough. But at the same time, I've been there.
Sure.
When my mom was telling me to do certain things growing up, did not listen.
Yep.
All the time, and now I'm on the other end of it where I had some consequences and had some experiences where I understand her wisdom in that. And I think it's a balance between, telling people certain things and wanting to be there, but also understanding that life and God has to do what they got to do in that person's life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think when it's not always what you say, it's how and where you say it, right? The environment to have those conversations. Do you feel you can ask the hard questions? Because when that happens to me, when I come up against that, I try to gather data first.
Yep.
If somebody comes home from work, they're stressed or something, and so they snap or something, and we'll jump all over them. Like, why you got to be like that? Blah, blah, blah. As opposed to, okay, just internalize that for a minute. Look, maybe, is there a pattern, right? And then saying after a while, like, I've noticed sometimes when you get really stressed, XYZ happens. Or do you know where that comes from? Try to harness their own sense of awareness and understanding about something. So I have a friend that anytime somebody would pay a compliment to them, they would either compliment the person that said it for the same thing, or they would demean themselves and say, well, no, I really didn't do that good. I mean, I'm still struggling to learn my lines or something. And I noticed this pattern, and I didn't say anything. But the one thing that just really makes me mad inside is when people are demeaned by other people or they demean themselves. It just pushes a button for me. And I really care about this person, but it was really hard to so finally, one night I said, do you know that every time somebody pays you a compliment, I've never once heard you accept it or just say thank you? Can you tell me about that? And they went silent for a while, and they were really thinking. And they said, this must go really far back in my childhood. And we got into issues around trust. They're very scared. Is this person just saying this because they want something from me? Are they just being nice? Like, is it genuine? There was a lot of internal work that they had to do, but they were also not totally aware that they did this until I pointed it out to them. But not in a way that's judgmental or, listen, I can't take this anymore. You need to do this thing and shape up, all right? get to that understanding for them.
Yeah.
Because they will percolate on that a lot longer than if there's what they perceive as a confrontation, even though it's probably not.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely it does. And I think that's something I've also experienced with this person is I think the lack of clarity that they have within themselves causes them to project certain emotions on the people. You know, like I've realized that their anger, they're never really angry at the person that they're mad at. They're angry for something. Like, it's almost like you can tell that they're frustrated with themselves.
Sure.
They don't know how to handle that, so they put it onto somebody else.
Yep.
And like you said, picking up on certain patterns, and I think that's beautifully said. It's. I think if you're in a place where you understand, I'm gonna observe and like really pick up on patterns, then you have the self-awareness enough to know that, you know, it's important how you say something to this person. I think where people get into a lot of trouble is when they give advice, they give it from a place of like yelling, forceful, you have to do this, I can't take this anymore. And what that does to that other person is that immediately makes their walls go up, their guards go up.
Right.
And now it's just confrontation, ego and ego.
Right.
You know, I think, you know, when you see certain things in people, it's really important to work in a way that creates a space where they slowly start to open up, and then you know the time where you can ask them a question like that in that way,
right,
where they're receptive to it.
Right.
That actually happened with this friend, where because I opened up about a certain thing, and I had been picking up on certain things, I opened up about a certain thing, and obviously they've been seeing what I've been doing with social media and stuff, and how they saw me go through the hospital and the mental health, the depression, the low moments, right?
Yep.
So for them to see me here now, I think when I say something, it comes with a sense of authority because they've been in my life and they've seen how certain things have worked out. Right. But I was sitting with this person and we started having a really deep convo, and I felt like it was a perfect opportunity for me to open up, to show them that that's the type of space we have here. You can be open and honest and vulnerable.
Right.
So I did. And I didn't even finish the story yet before they started, man, I'm dealing with this and I'm going through that. Started crying, you know what I mean? I started crying, and we really started getting deep. And they started really being honest. Like, I just feel like I've lost my sense of self. I don't know who I am. I feel like my connection to God is gone. I'm always angry, and I take it out on the people around me, and I don't know why. I just lost, right? And I'm just hearing that, and it's hitting so deep. But the most frustrating part is after we had the conversation, you resort right back to the things that were causing that.
Right.
Right. You really showed me the truth. That's really how you're feeling. Yep. That is really the truth right there. And then after the conversation, you get back into familiar territory, you get around certain people, get back on social media, and then you just resort back to the default. Right. And now you're doing the same things. And it's like, now you become even more angry because now I just opened up and I'm not changing. It's like this, you know what I mean? And then when you try to go back and like, remember the conversation we just had? I'm not trying to talk right now. It's like, oh man, this is tough, you know? So it
takes a long time to unlearn those behaviors.
Oh man.
That's why being back in an environment where maybe different behaviors come out. When we first started going on vacation, we learned pretty early on, my wife learned that I have to be away from the zip code to relax. So she pointed that out to me. Like, if you're here, you're going to go in for even if you take a week off, you're going to go in for that meeting. About me.
Yeah, right.
It's like, I've got to remove you from the zip code.
Yeah,
right. And she made a comment once that, boy, vacation Tom is great, but when we come home, he just melts away. And work mode, Tom, like, kicks, right? I got the mail to go through, I got bills, I got to catch up from being gone. Like, the environment is a big part of that. If you keep me perpetually in vacation mode, so I had to learn how to, and I'm not really great at this, but I had to be aware of trying to integrate vacation Tom and everyday Tom into one person. I think the worst thing is if you're at your own, you're not going to be there to hear it, but at your funeral, if 3 different people get up and speak about you, and they all give very different representations of who you were,
Right.
that's not great. I don't think.
Oh man.
That's not authenticity.
Mm-mm.
Because I think you can be authentic in the workplace in the same way that you can be authentic with friends and with family. It doesn't mean you reveal the same things, that you say the same things, but I think you can show up as being approachable or a good listener or whatever, regardless of the role you're playing at the time. So I think having a follow-up conversation, and I'm very mindful, a lot of people tell me a lot of things, and even people that I know, that they may tell me like, well, so-and-so is my best friend. But I don't know if the 3 of us are together, if they actually told that person what they told me. So I never bring stuff up, ever. But it might be good to say, it's been a while since we had that deep talk. Can we go grab dinner and catch up? And when it's just the 2 of you, that wall might come down again to check in about that thing. Because if they opened up to you the first time, now they've given you permission to access that. But some people don't even think anything of it. Just the next time I see you, we may be at a party. Hey, Isaiah, how's your drinking problem going? You're like, whoa, dude, like.
I do not have one.
Right, no, like.
It's a scenario.
But, right,
yeah,
like,
keep going.
you have to be sensitive to what people trust you with.
Straight up.
And wonder, like, okay, have they told other people this? Did they just tell me? We have got to respect that. That confidentiality piece.
Yes. Yeah, man, what people be out here just talking. We were just talking about gossip off, like how just gossip and complaining just creates this negative energy I don't want to be around. But like so many people fall into that trap of just constantly talking about what other people are doing. And you start saying things that you shouldn't be saying. That person did not tell you that to go tell that person.
Right.
But I want to go back to what you said about the 3 different people.
Yep.
I think, I don't know where in Asia, but I know it's an old Asian like parable or philosophy, and it's the 3 faces.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Nope.
So you have 3 different faces. You have one, the face that you show to the world, right? That everybody sees. That's the social media. That's public. You have the second face is what you show to people really close to you, family, friends, relationships.
Yep.
Then you have the 3rd face, and that's you and you.
Yep.
When nobody else is around. And the goal is to figure out a way to integrate all 3 of them to where they're seamlessly one and the same. Right? It's not like when people meet you outside of social media, are they getting the same person?
Yeah.
Or are they like, who is this? This is not what I thought, because that's not what you're portraying.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's the goal of the philosophy is to integrate all 3 and create that authenticity line that connects them all. You know what I mean? I think it's beautiful. And that's something I've really tried to work on. When I went through a lot of my mental health stuff, I took a whole break from social media, and I made the intention that when I get back on it, right? Because how I was living before was way different. So when I get back on it, I am going to be who I actually am in real life. Like, how do I want people to perceive me on social media and in real life? I want that to be the same. And so I went in with that intention. That's when, and people will tell me that all the time, like I started to sense like a shift in you, like with the stuff you were posting, with how you were like, what you were saying on social media, stuff like that. And I was loving that. Like, I loved that there wasn't any separation between people, how they talk to me in real life. And then you look at my DMs and the stuff I talk about on social media, it's the same stuff.
Right.
Right. And then obviously the one with yourself, like just you and you, just making sure that you're staying authentic with yourself.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So just integrating all 3. I just wanted to touch on that.
That's a great point. I had a former student, and I didn't know this at the time because I didn't really work with them. But a friend of theirs I worked with, and they came to me one day and they said, her name's Fiona. They said, Fiona really wants to meet you, but she's really scared. I was like, why? And she said, well, like, she's only seen you at Lessons and Carols, and like, if who she meets is not who she sees at Lessons and Carols, she's afraid. And she's like, and I've told her like Tom's just Tom.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so when I finally met her, and it was great, So as she's graduating, I'm like, I got to ask you now, like, was the me of that thing the me that you know? And it was just really, really funny that we were able to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Because we build up in our mind who we hope somebody is, or people might listen and think, man, I wish I could meet them in person. Like, they, right? Like, you and I are not playing characters on TV.
No.
And I think, nor are we experts in anything. I'm not, right? I think.
No, I'm not either. But.
I think that happens when people listen to I'm going to tune in and say what Isaiah has to say about intentionality, because he's like the expert. Like,
right.
We're just human beings.
Yeah.
Living life, but talking about where we have seen things go well, where we have fallen, and where we're works in progress.
Absolutely.
And invite you into that. That's why, for me, I really like the comments or the questions that people ask, so that we can add our perspective on it, but not because we looked it up in the encyclopedia as fact.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
Seriously, right. Be open mind, open heart.
Yeah.
And just understand that we're humans.
Yep.
And I mean, still learning, still growing every day.
Yeah.
For real. So yeah, man, it's for anybody out there that's definitely struggling with seeing certain things in somebody's life that's close to you, and it's hard. I hope you could take whatever you hear today with and that can help you, because I'm still navigating it right now. That's why I'm talking to you about.
Right,
it.
right.
You're helping me with it, but like, yeah, it's just tough sometimes, man. But then on the flip side of it, I'm also incredibly optimistic, right? Because it's this weird it's this weird yin and yang thing. Like, I'm optimistic because I know that, like, I know how transformational certain experiences are and how you have to go through stuff first, right? So I'm optimistic for this person because I know, like, as they continue to grow and live life, they're gonna go through things that are gonna teach them certain things.
Yep.
But on the contrary, where it's tough is you hope that they don't have to learn with something that really makes a stain, right? Like, really makes a stain,
right.
Like the consequence, like a kid ending up in jail,
sure.
right? Ending up in the hospital like I did, you know what I mean? Something like that. Like, you don't want that for them. And that's where it's like this tough, like, I'm trying to tell you so I can prevent you from this stuff, but at the same time, I know that, the greatest teacher is life, so.
Right. Live in whatever your authentic self is, and check your motive, right? If you really care about this person, if you want to ask a question out of care and concern, that will come through. If you're asking a question to be nosy or gossip, that will come through, right? And do it in a way that is authentic for you. When I first started doing this, I went through all the things in my head. It's none of my business. Who am I to ask this question?
Wow.
I had a student, this was probably one of the very first people that I actually did this with. They just seemed off to me. And I wanted to just find out what was going on, but I'm like, it's not my place. It's not my business,
Right.
And I paid attention to my 3-week rule. It still bothered me during over 3 weeks, and if it still bothers me, I got to act on it. And so I sent them an email, like, I just wanted to check in. You just haven't seemed like yourself. If everything's great, fine. Tell me to mind my own business. But if it's not and you need to talk, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And they wrote me back. That meant everything to them. They said, well, I thought I was doing a pretty good job hiding it, but I guess I'm not. And we went out several times and talked. And at the end of one of those talks, they looked right at me and they said, I think I need to talk to my parents and get some help.
Wow.
Because we hear it so often when people get into trouble or someone takes their life, and then we're racked with guilt. Man, I thought something was up, but I didn't say anything. Like, risk the ask. Risk the ask. And if it's nothing, great. Right? Or if they come at you with anger, and they say, how dare you, blah, 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 then you probably are on the right track. They're just not ready to face it yet. Usually, when you're met with anger, It's because you just hit a nerve that hit way too close to home. Or they may come to you and say, man, you can see right through me. Let's talk about that. But know why you're asking the question in the first place.
Come on.
Authenticity.
Oh, that's...
Authenticity.
Man, yeah,
people pick up on that.
That's so good. And I think I'm going to touch on that angle, because that's literally what this person is going through. Like, whenever somebody says something to them that they know is true, they get angry. They don't want to deal with it right now. It hit a nerve.
Right.
Anyway, and I used to do this, but this is the importance of being really secure and knowing who you are, staying true to yourself. Because if you know your motive, if you know your intentions truly, and let's say you do something, you ask somebody something, or you're in a situation with somebody, and they lash out at you, like get angry at you, right? Like, get out of here, or say something to you that's really negative. What a lot of people will do is they'll take that personal. So now they feel like they're doing something wrong. Oh man, now you start questioning yourself. You start questioning, wait, am I doing? I gotta change. But it's like, you gotta understand that, like, if you know who you are, if you know your intentions, if you know your motive, then you know that's what you're doing it from. That does not always mean you're gonna get the desired response or reaction. And the key is to not allow somebody else's projections of what they have going on within themselves to make you change who you know you are.
Yep.
And the problem, the tough part about it is a lot of people don't fully know who they are, or don't have that security rooted on the authenticity and the truth of who they are. So when people do something to them, they take it personal, and then it makes them want to change or lash right back or do something that isn't really, who they are. They're just doing it out of this external situation or experience that happened to them.
Yep.
It's a very rocky road to go on. I've been there, where you start changing who you know you are to conform to somebody else. Oh, they got angry. I can't say that to them anymore. I got to do this, or I got to do that, or what if I act like them so they like me better, or what if I try to?
Right.
It's a rocky road to go down. So yeah, I think just being rooted and grounded in who you actually are, knowing your intentions, knowing your motive, and staying true to that, and don't allow external things or people to change who you know you are.
Yep.
Right? I'm talking to all my people pleasers out there, because I grew up a people pleaser, where you start that's not you, but you start changing you to conform and make somebody else feel comfortable.
Right.
I was like, I don't want to do that no more.
Right.
Because now I'm making you feel comfortable, but I'm uncomfortable.
Right.
Now I'm trying to help you, but in reality, I'm hurting myself.
Yes.
And if I'm hurting myself, I'm really hurting both of us.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, I'm done with that.
Yep.
Out of love, though. But yeah.
I hope, like, my wish for people is to just be able to enter into relationship as your full authentic self, and let the other person do that too. Right? Don't look at the differences as those being imposed on you. Right? Whether it's a physical attribute or a political view or a favorite food, right? Like, they're not asking you to change. Be careful, right? Are they asking you to, like, get an earring or eat peanut butter desserts? Or nope, that's all in your head. And if you can go out and have a great time, one doesn't drink but you do, right? They're not, right? Maybe, like, they're not asking you not to drink, and you're not asking them to drink, right? But you also have to have trust there. I trust that if this person said, no, Tom, go ahead and get a beer, that they mean it.
Right.
Because if I really wanted a beer, and now, like, well, they don't drink, so I won't get one. Now I might be just 1%, like, resenting that I'm out with you in this moment because I really just wanted to get a beer. Be genuine, be authentic, right?
Wow.
Like, if you can.
Wow.
And enter into that. But man, it takes a long time for that sometimes to happen. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes when it doesn't take a long time, I myself could get suspicious, right? I mean, my friend Brendan and I, like, when we're together, it is the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I haven't known him that long. And so I'm like, I don't get this. Like, I mean, the easiest thing. Like, I just got home from a 2-week vacation and put my slippers on. I'm like, man, I'm home. Like, there is no pretense. There is no being on.
You just are.
Yeah. And I think that's the first time that's ever happened to me. Like, there was no, like, what do you want on your, there was none of that ever. Like, normally, friendships, you can go back to the beginning, like, oh yeah, remember when, like, we thought, what, right? Or you tell that first story, like, you know, when I first met you, I thought X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
There's just been none of that. And so I'm like, that's when I look at, okay, but is it me? It can't be me, because all my relationships would be like this. And it can't be him, because I've heard stories about the different people in his life.
Yep.
So it's got to be that space between us where the magic happens.
It's called connection.
Right.
The connection.
Yep. Yeah. Sometimes we just got to turn our brains off. That's what I have to do.
Me too.
I just got to turn my brain off and enter into the thing in front of me.
Me too.
Suspend judgment and just enter into it. I had a woman back before 2019. Okay. She came to do a professional development day. This woman, a raging extrovert. She's like Joy from Inside Out. That's what I nicknamed her. And I was done with people. I had work to get done. I resented being at this thing, professional development day. Who needs that? All right. And she says, I want you to write your intention for the day on an index card. And I thought, you have got to be kidding me. And I wrote on the index card, to be left alone. I did not want to do any of that group sharing thing. I didn't want to do icebreakers and I was like, I was just done. She has become a mentor and a friend to me. I can't get over. We've collaborated on things together, and I've told her this story. I'm like, the first time I met you, I thought there's too much going on. Right. And
it was a wrap.
It's so funny. We could not be more different. Right. But I didn't know her. I just came with my own baggage that day.
Come on.
And couldn't enter into what she was doing. And she watched me work, and I guess my work just filled her with joy.
Yeah.
And so anyway, like we worked together, became friends, but just get out of your own way and just be open.
Yeah. Straight up. Oh man, that's good. I heard I want to say it was probably, I get a lot of my stuff from podcasts. I love watching podcasts, but Jay Shetty had on a relationship coach, right? So somebody who dates in the dating, I mean, he's in the dating realm of coaching and development, but he said, if you get in a relationship with somebody and you're already thinking about how to change them or certain things you want to tweak, that's probably not the person you need to be with.
Right.
He said, your job isn't to go into relationships to change people. Your job is to go into relationships and love them in a way that makes them fall more in love with themselves.
Yeah. Because
what that's gonna create is their love for you is gonna grow, right? As they fall more in love with themselves, their capacity for you to love you grows. You know what I mean? And so I think when I heard that, it just like, because I was like, that's so true. Like, how often do we go in relationships and we're constantly trying to change the other person?
Right.
You know what I mean? Constantly trying to change the other person. And I think it comes from a place of ego, focusing too much on you. Yep. Oh, what do I need from this person? I need them to fit this mold that I have for my relationship, instead of being committed to making it work with that person as they come. It's not to say you guys don't grow together, right? If there's certain things holding y'all back in the relationship, yeah, let go, like remove that thing. But I mean, like going in and really trying to change a person. Hey, I don't want you doing that anymore. Hey, you need to stop doing that. Hey, don't hang out with them. Hey, don't do it. It's like, bro, you need to get out of that relationship if that's what the foundation is. Y'all just trying to change each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, find people where you could just, find someone where you could love them where they are. You know what I mean? And really make them fall in love with themselves. And in return, their capacity to love you will grow. That's really what love is. And I think if you approach every relationship like that, where you're really just trying to show up as your authentic self and trying to shine your light on somebody else to make them feel seen, heard, and valued.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like you'll have a lot of healthy relationships in your life.
Yep.
and they're going to be different, right? Obviously, the dynamic of every relationship you have is different. Right. I have relationships that were based off of being on a team together. Our relationship was built off of me being in your office talking one-on-one. Yep. I have relationships with other people, whether it's at work or this place, you know what I mean? So the dynamic will change, but you can go in with the same intentions.
Right. Yeah, and I think being honest, you can still be honest and have the same outcome. Right? If you and we met and we're like, oh, let's go, we'll get together, we'll go do something. And you call me up and you say, hey, Tom, I'm going to, let's go golfing on Sunday. Do you like golf? Because I'm going to get to hang out with you, I run the risk of saying, oh, I love golf. And in my head, I'm thinking, I've never golfed in my life. This is crazy, but he wants to golf, right? As opposed to saying, I've never golfed before, but I'd be open to learning. Mm-hmm. Because we want the person to accept us.
Right.
So we tell these lies that aren't really harmful. Right? But there's nothing bad about that, right? So we go golfing and then all right, let's go get some sushi. Like, I totally love sushi. And you're thinking, this is disgusting, right? No, be honest, because you're also going to tease out, whoa, like, this person does not like golf. Well, they can't be in my life. Right. Or whatever, right? Like, tease that out. Man, it's so much easier to do it in the beginning to learn, right? If golfing isn't non-negotiable for you, well, then I guess we're parting ways. But you might just be, I was going to do this today. In your head, you might be thinking, I'm not wed to this, but I'll see if Tom wants to golf, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I love golf. And you're thinking, wow, great, like he loves golf. And I'm thinking, I hate golf.
Right.
If I was just honest with you, you may have had a backup plan, or we'll go to the movies, or we'll go shoot pool or whatever.
Right.
But I didn't tell you the truth.
That's so real.
Just be real.
And it's okay in a relationship if like your partner does certain things that you don't like with other people. Hey, I'm gonna go play golf with my friends today.
Yeah.
I know you don't like golf. I'm gonna go to golf. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's like the same with a girl. I'm gonna go get my hair done. Yeah, I don't need to go to a salon and get my hair done. I'm good. You have fun.
Right.
It's okay to do different things that your partner doesn't like without feeling like they have to do it too. Like they don't have to like what you like for it to work.
Right.
If that makes sense. You just said something that just.
I think one of the other beauties is entering into people's worlds.
Yeah.
Not because you want to do that, right? So my friend Brendan, who I talked about, he likes to fish. Mm-hmm. And he actually knows how to, like he brought me fish the other night to cook for my dinner.
Was it good?
It was delicious. Okay. And I said, I would love to watch you do that sometime.
Right.
Not because I want to learn.
Come on.
But it brings, he's like, well, I'll tell you the next time I'm going out.
Yep. I
just want to watch that process because it fills him with joy to do this, right? I am not going to bludgeon a fish with a rock. I'm just not going to do it.
Come on.
Right? But he knows how to do that.
It's a great analogy.
And right, we'll have great conversation, and it's not about the fishing per se, but to be open to that, but not because you want to copycat it.
Right.
But just because it's what I talked about last week, because it's important to him and he's important to me, that thing is important to me.
Yep.
But not because I want fishing lessons.
Right. Mine is, I use the word interesting. Like, I'm interested in you. I have no interest in, let's say, fishing.
Yes,
but
thank you.
Because I'm interested in you and you love fishing, I want to go and see your process and why you love it.
Yep.
How are you seeing that? Like, what am I not seeing that you're seeing?
Right.
Right? And I don't want to go to fall in love with fishing. I want to go because you love fishing and I love you and I'm interested in you and I want to see why you gravitate towards this thing. It's the same way why we love going to, like, certain people have no desire to play basketball.
Right.
I love going and watching LeBron James play.
Right.
I just love his passion and drive for the game.
Right.
Or even a workout. Like, I have no desire to go, like, some people will, like, go watch NBA players work out. I have no desire to play basketball or to work out, but I love watching this player in his craft because I'm interested in this player.
Yes.
Stuff like that. Like,
and that can give you feedback.
Oh, man,
right?
So much.
One of the last big events that I did at the college, there were like 90 people in the choir.
Yeah.
Students who they're not singers,
Right.
but they just wanted to be in this. And so they told me after, it was really fascinating because they knew me in one light.
Uh-huh.
And they would say, wow, it was so interesting to see you in your element, like in that role, and how you just commanded and you knew what we had to get done. And so I was able to learn about myself, like how I show up in those moments that they hadn't experienced.
Come on.
Tell me about that so I can learn. You know, what kind of excited you to watch that? Or were there moments where I was like, hey, no talking, and you were like, whoa, like, Tom, like, that's scary, Tom. I've never seen him before, right? Like, yeah, it was really neat to talk about.
Yeah.
Because I just do my thing, and I don't think anything of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah.
So real. And I think going back to what you said about just being honest, like, it's so important to do that early, man, because that's the problem with the honeymoon phase in relationships is you set up unrealistic expectations. You're showing, you're doing things that you know aren't you to impress the other person or to be accepted by the other person because the feelings are high, the connection's there, you know what I mean? The energy's high, and you want to keep it going. So you become a yes person. You know, you become a yes man. Yes, 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 yes. I like that. I like this. Oh, I love that too. Be honest from the get-go. Right. You know what I mean? It's not going to take away from the connection. If anything, it's going to deepen it if it's meant to be. I had a friend, I had just met this person, right? So we're getting to know each other, yada, yada, yada. One of the first conversations we had, she had said something, she had said like a joke or something, right? And I honestly, like I didn't find it funny.
Okay.
And I told her, I was like, that was the funny part. Like, she laughed, and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't think that joke was it. I'm not gonna lie. And then we started dying at that. And she was like, LOL, I love that you told me you didn't like it. Yeah. I love that about you. Yeah. Like, thanks for being honest. You know, I don't see that a lot. Like, people, you know, they'll just agree with you, or they'll laugh at something when it's not funny, or they'll say yes to this and that. And it's like, you think by not laughing or saying that it's not a joke, our perception is, oh, they're not going to like me or not going to accept me. But in reality, like, people really do value when you're just honest.
Yes.
Thanks. Even if it's not something that is desirable for them to hear, they just appreciate you being honest. Right. Hey, thanks for telling me you didn't like the thing I just said, or that joke, or that idea. Like, thanks, bro.
I would rather have somebody that I know, as awkward as it is, as opposed to getting up in front of 500 people and finding out after the fact. I would rather have my friend tell me, Tom, your fly is down. Yeah. Right? Like, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being honest.
Yeah, like being honest.
I didn't want to hurt you, so I left it.
Yeah, great. Now it's on live stream, and there it is. Now everybody's talking about it and clipping, right? Like, yeah, be honest. And trust that people have more going on in their heart than the superficial stuff. I mean, if you look at the fairy tale of Cinderella, right? So over time, like, Cinderella could have lost it all, but the prince fell in love with Cinderella, not the dress, not the bibbidi-bobbidi-boo stuff, right? He wanted to find her. But when he found her, all that other stuff, she didn't have it, right? But he still loved her. So believe that people aren't that superficial.
Right.
If you do show who you really are, that can be a gift to them. And if it's not, then that is not the relationship for you.
And you'd rather know that at the beginning than 6 months in.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
But it's hard when you're in it and you're chameleoning and desperate to fit in, finding who you are, finding people, right? Am I ever going to find love? So people settle, right? That's dangerous. Like, so, like, don't do that.
I love it. That's so real. The chameleon thing, literally, this is one of the things I wanted to talk about. So today at church, he talked about being transformed versus being conformed. And that hit, right? Transformed, when a caterpillar has to go into its cocoon.
Yep.
to become a butterfly. It's being transformed,
Yep.
right? There's an internal thing. Conformed is a gecko changing its whatever it's what is it?
Skin color?
Yeah, blending in or whatever
Yep.
it is,
Yep.
just to fit into the environment, right? But there's no internal change. It's just kind of going around. And I think in our life, a lot of people are conformed, but they're not transformed, right? There's an external thing happening, and they're conforming to it to be accepted, to be valued, to fit in. But there's no real transformation happening, and that's where that superficial thing comes in. You know, that's where you get involved in the wrong thing or unhealthy relationships and stuff. It's because you're just conforming to this person or to this environment, but there's no transformation happening within you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And like when you conform to the things around you, that's an external thing. Transformation is an internal thing.
Yep.
Your internal environment, that internal, you know, world that you have, once you transform that and you get right with that, that's constant in you.
Yep.
You're right. The environment around you is constantly changing all the time. People come and go, places come and go, new environments, new career, new job, new relationship, whatever it may be. It's always moving. If you're always trying to conform and adapt and find your value and root yourself in the external environment, you're never going to have a solid foundation. You're going to constantly be moving with everything. Oh, I just lost that person. My worth went with them. I got to find a new one. Oh, I just lost that thing that I had my value, and I got to find a new one. You know what I mean? Instead of being transformed within yourself and being secure in who you are and who God made you to be,
Yep.
and your uniqueness and your authenticity and your truth, and staying rooted in that. Now it doesn't matter what room you put me in. It don't matter what relationship I'm in. I'm me.
Right. Right.
You know, what's the Bible verse? Be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
They don't conform to the ways of the world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Yep.
Come on, that's internal.
Yep.
Come on.
Yep.
So it hit. I love when he said that today. I was like, "Whoo, that's deep.
Right.
That's deep." How
That's
many
really
of us
good.
are conforming rather than transforming? You know, that's where you have to be honest with yourself.
Right.
Right. And I think certain environments and people can definitely help you to transform. Right.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, man, you got to understand that transformation is an internal thing. You know, you're not going to find transformation outside of yourself.
Right.
Right. Then the Autobots, Transformers, they don't go somewhere to transform.
Right.
They go within themselves and
Right.
turn into the car. And then when they want to transform back, they go within themselves and turn into themselves.
Right.
You know, it's the same in life. You know,
Yes.
transformation's in here.
Yep. Yeah. There's a show that on Apple TV that I love called Schmigadoon.
Schmigadoon?
Schmigadoon. Yeah, it's a parody about musicals and things. And so that Kristen Chenoweth plays the mayor's wife, and she's like kind of a villain, not really, but kind of in this, definitely an antagonist. And at the end, she says something, and somebody says, "No, you're not. You're actually a selfish," fills in the word. And the person says, "But you don't have to stay that way. That's so great about change. It means you can be something better than you are." And they sing this song about this is how we change, reimagine, rearrange, see ourselves through others' eyes, re-examine, realize this is how we grow. Blossom burst, melting snow, find another way to learn. Like, that can be really powerful when something, that inner conversion, wait, I could not be this, beholden to power. People have to fear me and do what I say because I have power. They might actually do things for me if I'm genuine and authentic. That's the difference, I think, between a manager and a leader. You know, a leader will inspire people to put their blood, sweat, and tears into something because hopefully they see in the leader someone who is also doing that or would do it for them. Whereas a manager is saying, you'll get this done by 5 o'clock or you're fired. The quality of that work is not going to be the same as feeling empowered. I believe in this organization and this person that tasked me to do this. You're going to get very different results from those two personalities.
Man,
We could do a whole thing on toxic leadership, but
We
don't.
got to do that,
should
because
do
I
that
was just
now.
thinking about relationship. You know how it says the man is the head of the house, like the leader. It's like, how many men are out there managing rather than leading in the household?
Right.
You know what I mean? Do this and then we'll be okay. Do
Right.
this and then, instead of inspiring that other person to want to play a part in this relationship, to want to
Right.
build this household, this family, right?
Right. When you hear that word leader, a lot of people can get a big head.
Yep.
I'm the boss. I'm in charge. Versus, okay, like, I have to care for these people that are in my charge. I have to lead this group. How am I going to lead this group? Right? Is it going to be, well, because I said so?
Yep.
Or are you going to invest in this team, get to know them, harness their biggest strengths for the benefit of the whole? Because they're all going to thrive if they feel like they're really contributing, and you're going to look really good, and they're going to be happy, and you're going to get good results.
Yep.
If you can draw that out of people rather than having people work out of fear.
Right. Yes. Draw that out of people rather than trying to put them in a state of fear and control them that way.
Yep.
And that's what we have in this society, is we try to put people in fear, because when people are in a fearful state, it's easier to control them.
Yep.
Right? Instead of inspiring and igniting that light that each and every person has within them and allowing that to shine bright.
Right.
Right? And fuel what we're doing in this society.
Yep.
It's wild. You ever seen in the military where they have to climb the wall as a group, and then there's that first person, he's the anchor, and then the second person comes up, the third person comes up, and then the dude runs all the way up and he's on top. Now he starts pulling everybody up. The leader is the first person at the bottom.
Yep.
The leader is the dude that's boom, and he's letting everybody step on him.
Right.
Step on him, get to the top. But then what starts to happen is that same leader that y'all needed to step on, now he needs y'all to pull him up.
Right. Right.
Right?
Yes.
And that's what happens.
Yes.
It's that constant circulation of helping each other.
Yep.
You know, it's a beautiful thing. And so a real leader makes everybody around him feel like a leader. A true king
Yep.
makes everybody in the village feel like a king.
Yep.
And a queen. You know what I mean? And it's just empowering people to tap into what they have within them instead of trying to beat them down so it's easier for you to control them.
Yep.
And nobody wants to be in that. That's how revolts start. You know, that's why there's revolutions. We're taking this power structure down. This is not for the people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so it's actually crazy we're talking about that with the time that we're in right now with everything going on in society.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But we definitely, I try to stay out of certain things just because, you know, it's just important to protect what you allow into your life. And you know how we are. We're just very open. We love people.
Yep.
I don't care what you believe in or your perspective. I don't need to agree with everything, but I just don't like the divisiveness
Right.
of our times. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
but yeah, going back to the leader point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's real. Leader is lead, don't manage. I love it.
Yeah.
Lead, don't manage.
Inspire people to want to be there.
Yeah.
Not with a big speech, but by your actions. There are a lot of things I think that corporations can do to build good morale and good culture other than we gave you a raise. You know, to really genuinely, and not because, well, it's the annual holiday gathering and so I'm supposed to say nice things about you, but to notice what people are doing, to really pay attention and compliment them on that or thank them for that. Gratitude.
Attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
Attitude of gratitude. Man, I wonder how long we've been going. I don't think it's been too long, right? 4:45. I don't know. I feel like, you have anything else?
No, I'm good.
I feel like that was, yeah. Sometimes, man, me and Tom right now are in a church, in his church. And this is the second time we've done it in a church. And usually we have like a theme for each episode. But I guess when we're in the church, we kind of just sit down and allow the energy to guide us. And it always turns out to be great.
Yeah. Send us some themes if you want us to talk
Yes,
about
please.
something.
Definitely,
right?
definitely. We'll do that. But yeah, this was great. I don't think I have because this has been heavy on my heart lately, just really understanding, like, I want everybody to know that everything's going to be okay. And you don't need to be anywhere else but where you are. You know, that's something I've really been focusing on, is just being present and being at peace with where I am.
Yep.
Understanding that, like, the things that are meant for me will find me. I just need to make the most out of this moment. You know, I don't need to have my whole life figured out at 25 years old.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just embrace what God has for you in this season. Because I think so often when we're so focused on the future and looking past what we have in this moment, we miss out on what God has for us in the present.
Yep.
You know, the blessings and the lessons that he has for us in this time. And when I've really started to just embrace where I am now, I think it's just helped me to just be a little bit more mindful and open to what this season and this time has for me. You feel me?
I want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
If this thing's going to work, I don't know.
Take your time. I think we got time. You're good. It started raining really hard outside, but it's okay.
There's a song by Charles Billingsley.
He must be old. I've never heard of him. Older.
I think he's fairly new.
Oh, never mind.
It's called "Where You're Supposed to Be."
Yeah. Like, what are you gonna do? Play it or read the lyrics?
No, I wanted to read the lyrics,
Go
but
ahead.
it's not.
What is it? You could type it in on Safari or Google.
All right, let me try that.
Yeah.
Spotify's not cooperating over here.
Yeah, nah. What's it called?
Where You're Supposed to Be.
Where you're by
It's by Charles Billingsley.
What are you going on Google?
I'll share it with you and see if you can open the lyrics.
Song? Yeah, go ahead. They get in the real raw. You know, we're not cutting this out. We're gonna put it all in this.
Can you open it?
Yeah, I opened it.
Are the lyrics at the bottom?
Where does it usually? Right here, or what?
Yeah.
No?
No, they're not there.
Let me see. Actually, no, I don't think so.
All right. Well, I'll just encourage people to find that and give it a listen. Yeah, Where You're Supposed to Be by Charles Billingsley. It hits right on what we were talking about. And it's a good way to think about and gain perspective about wherever life has found you today.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, why don't it should have the
I know. I don't. It's not cooperating this morning.
Nah, I feel like we right here. We right here. If this video don't work, yeah, I didn't get it. But yeah, you wanna touch on that, or you want people to just to go listen?
Yeah, just go ahead and go and listen to it.
Okay. It's called
Where You're Supposed to Be.
Where You're Supposed to Be by Charles Billingsley.
Yep.
I don't know if they could see this, but I doubt they could see that. But zoom in.
Yeah, it's a great song.
All right, I'm gonna go listen. I'll listen to that right after. I should have just played it in here. But yeah, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Definitely let us know some themes that you guys want us to touch on, topics, whatever it may be. But most importantly, remember to take everything you hear and see with a grain of salt. We will catch you next week.